Hey, welcome to the Toolshed. We're glad that you stopped by this morning. Hey, and the Toolshed is a place where you can make every job just a little bit easier. You can sharpen the best tool you got in the truck. This wonderful, one-of-a-kind Toolshed, Eddie McFarlane, is brought to you by Schedule Engine.
Wahoo!
Today's episode.
Yes.
Is sponsored by our good friends over at Emerson. We're super thankful for the Emerson partnership.
So grateful.
Just good people.
Yeah, good people.
Yeah.
Check it. They have a bunch of apps. If you're an HVAC technician, they have a whole bunch of apps. They have websites. If you're looking for copy or resources, check them out. We'll tag them in this episode. It's because they have a bunch of stuff, and I don't think everybody really knows how much they do. So
they have Don Gillis, who we really like a lot.
Yeah.
Who has a great voice and does training all over the United States, and he's just a good dude.
He's quite tall. Yeah. He's quite tall. Well, I mean, everybody's tall to me. I guess it's a relative term. So this episode, we had a great discussion about mindset, and you talked about drop it, leave it, let it go, and mindset. As we talked about whether it's spring training or when we talk about the huddle, this is where you get your head right, because you got to get your head right. And as we talk about championships and championship players, they understand this. And so today we're going to go on a deep dive. We're actually going to jump right in, and there's some material that we came across as a team a number of years ago, and you may have heard this. So we're going to recap all about fixed or growth mindset. So we got some slides. We can go ahead and pull some of those up. The author and the person behind this whole that brought this work to light is Dr. Carol Dweck, and she says it simply, and I think it's really powerful. And as we get into it, you'll be like, oh, I get that, right? So mindsets are just beliefs. Yeah. And here's the thing. If you didn't program those beliefs, you still have beliefs. It just means
somebody
you picked them up. Yeah, they're like sticky. Yeah. You can't help but pick them up. They're like sort of those stuff you drag into the house.
It's like values.
You get exposed to it. And beliefs specifically about yourself. And the main crux of it is that whatever you have is fixed. So things like talent and your personality, and they can either be fixed or they can be grown. And that's it in a nutshell. And so that you may have an opinion about whether these things are carved in stone or not, but we're gonna look at exactly the difference between fixed and growth, and we're gonna actually put some sentences together and help you see if you can find yourself in some of these. So let's roll through the next one. So $5 word alert. Okay. You
okay.
Ready?
Go ahead. $5 word alert.
Word alert. We should have a buzzer. Here's the thing. It's called neuroplasticity, and that just means that your brain is kind of bendy. It's malleable, and it's capable of change. We live in a world where we've got fMRI, like functional magnetic resolution imaging. It basically means we can watch your brain while you're actually doing stuff, and we can see what a learning brain looks like, and so we can see these pathways. Why mindsets are so powerful is the way, again, not a doctor, don't play one on the internet, but this is how I understand it. The way it works is when you have a thought that fires off, you've got these things, you've got dendrites and synapses and all this sort of electric activity in your brain. The first time it goes, it follows a path, and then when you have that thought, it goes again, and after a while, that becomes like a pipe almost, and that's just, it's just easy for your brain to go that way, and that's where these ideas of habits and mindsets come. And neuroplasticity is just the idea like, hey man, you can take a detour, you can take the off-ramp. It's a little bit of work, but you can do it, right? And so it certainly, our brain's more plastic when we're young, and that's why we talk about this stuff that we pick up between 0 and 8 as being so powerful. But the good news is that your life, throughout your life, you can continue to do it. And that's why when we talk about a learning brain is different, a brain that's actively learning to take different highway and off ramps and different things. That's what it means. It's science, kids. You read it on the internet, so it must be true. All right, next slide. That's the background.
Hey, that's good stuff, man. I love all of that.
Yeah,
like, I absolutely love it. Like, you know, you can change.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, you know, that old story they talk about the elephant that you know, it's a fully grown elephant and it's got like a tiny little rope tied to a peg. It's because it was conditioned as a kid to like it tried pulling. But that highway in its head is so set, and it's not smart enough to take the off ramp and go, wait a minute, giant elephant, I got this.
Right.
Which is good news if you're ever standing next to an elephant, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so what is the definition of a fixed mindset? It's simply this. It's the belief a person has that your basic qualities such as abilities, intelligence, talent are fixed traits. That's simple. And how this manifests itself is that success and failure in performance is seen as an attribute of intelligence or talent that's fixed. So in other words, if somebody's successful, well, they were just born that way. That's it's fixed. Nothing you can do about it. For performance in a test or assignment is somehow proves something. Like, well, it proves I'm not good at that, or it proves I'm good at that. And it's just the thought or feeling about performance, like that you would have in certain areas. Like, I'm a word person. I'm not really a math. I'm an art person. I'm a left brain. I'm a right brain. And we hear that kind of thinking. And so let's take a look at what that would sound like as some of the conversations. And here's the trigger for this, because the clue is in the language that you use. Jerry and I talk a lot about words have meaning, and if you listen to yourself, most importantly, but certainly to others, you can pick up on this. So if you've ever said, like, yeah, I did okay, I was pretty smart, I mean, most things are just common sense, that is an indication that you think that you're smart, that's why school was easy, or more often than not, and I'm ashamed to say for myself, I wasn't really good at high school. I'm more of a work with your hands kind of guy. Believe it or not, that's a fixed mindset, right? I get the spelling gene, or hey, I'm good with languages. I can learn any language. Or hey, you know, some people just math brains. Like we had that conversation in our house when our kids were young, and ultimately it becomes a self-limiting belief, because after all, if it's fixed, why even try?
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
I'm sure you've seen this.
Oh, absolutely, hundreds of times. And so.
It shows up at work all the time as well.
It shows up at work, and you know, somebody somewhere told you that you're not good at spelling. And now you've been telling people for like 20 years, yep, I'm not good at spelling. What's this? I'll probably mess this word up.
Yeah, it becomes the self-talk. It's the voice inside our head, right?
It is, man. And be careful when you start listening to that voice inside of your head, because you're speaking to the universe.
Oh,
right?
man.
And like, if you tell yourself you're dumb,
often enough, you're going to start believing it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Let's look at the opposite. So this is a growth mindset, right? And I love being around growth mindset people, because they spark something, right? They think that, yeah, you come with basic talents, but you can work at it. The thing I think about is people are like, well, look, it's not like I can be in the NBA. Look, those people are all, you know, so tall. But we all know those outliers. They're
Spud Webb,
right?
Yeah.
And the Iversons of the world, right? Smaller, but man, they worked harder. They knew, like, okay, this is my baseline. What can I do to add to it? And so they understood, they wanted growth. IQ, brains, talent, innate abilities is just the starting point. Performance, ability, intelligence are things that can be improved and developed. It's just your starting point. Tests validate strategy, choice, or effort, and thoughts, feelings, and speech focus on the process of learning. And so here's when I got religion, and if I can just sort of like when I realized, like, I was like, okay, this me. But as a parent, I realized the scaffolding that I was putting around my children to stay within. And go ahead, read the book. I'm sure there's a YouTube 12-minute version of it. Do some research, because in the book, what they talk about is the language that you use to your team, to yourself, to your loved ones. They talk about how when your child brings home a report card and you put it on the fridge and it's an A, it's like, oh, look, oh, you're so clever. Hey, let's go for pizza. It's a beautiful thing. I did it. And that small thing is the start of paving a highway. And so rather what they suggest is, hey, look how hard you must have worked. Aren't you like, oh, that's so good, right? And you attribute it to the effort and not codify this idea. Because if what happens is, if that's where the success comes from, I'm smart, A's mean I'm smart. If I fail, what does that mean?
I'm not smart anymore.
If I get a
Dad's
C,
not going to like it, right?
And so what we see in high performers is that they've accustomed to having to work their way through it. And we see this in a lot of Ivy League schools where people, they've had this messaging and conditioning, and then the first time they hit an obstacle,
it's bad.
It's bad.
It's bad.
Because now we're getting at our core.
Yeah.
And so this idea of fixed and growth, it's really important for yourself, but it's really important for your team. It's really important for your loved ones. And you know, we would never talk to others the way we talk to ourselves.
Yeah.
And if you would love your child enough or your loved one enough to create a better narrative for them, you absolutely should do that for yourself. Let's look at a few things. There's a kind of the good news is there's a step that we can. Let's go to the next slide. There's a step that we can take where we can keep moving through. The language that we hear is I love a challenge, and things are just if I mess up on a test, I'm going to do better.
Right.
Like I'm going to study harder.
Yeah.
I know what now I know what I need to do. Hey, I had a good semester. It took me a while to figure out, but I came back to it in the end. So these are really interesting triggers that you can hear yourself, and if you hear your loved one say, you got to unpack. The big concept is you can change your mindset.
Hey, we were talking earlier before we started this, and I was telling Eddie that I had on my whiteboard in my office for several years the same words that were just on that slide. I love a challenge. And like, I love a challenge. Like, I've always liked to hire underdogs.
Right on.
I like to hire the person that's gone through some stuff in their life and they overcame it and they learned from it, because I know what their mindset is.
Boy,
you can't stop a person like that.
No, because they've figured out the secret. It's an inside job. And a couple of things. The trades are filled with underdogs. They're the trades, the blue-collar brothers and sisters are used to figuring some stuff out. When they get there and the blueprint doesn't, that's who you want on that job.
Yeah. But
let's talk about how long was that I love a challenge on your board?
3 years maybe longer. Because it's, I'm kind of hard-headed about some things.
We're talking about...
So when a problem showed up at my door, sometimes I just have to read my whiteboards. Man, I love a challenge. Let's get on it. Right? It's not a problem. It's an opportunity for us to learn and get better and win.
And it takes that long. We're talking about deconstructing a lifetime of thought process. Let's look at the steps to unpack this. First, learn you have a fixed mindset voice. So you need to pay attention to the talk, okay? So step one, listen to the voice, listen to the language, listen to the words, listen to how you've trained others to talk to you. Step two, recognize you have a choice. Just like everything at the Toolshed, we're going to give it to you, but we can't do it for you, right? Yeah. So recognize you have a choice. Step three, lovingly, kindly talk back with a growth mindset. Forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Oh, like the most ungrowth mindset is dumb. You're so dumb. I can't. You're doing it again. No, lovingly, nurturingly correct yourself. Hey, Eddie, you can do this. You can get better. And fix the lie with the truth that you can grow, and then take the growth mindset action. Everything has to be put in action. So that's it. That's the whole enchilada.
Hey, hit us up in the comments if you want to hear more about this.
Yeah.
Because this is this is where it's at.
Yeah, we could spend a lot of time.
You got to fix this, right? You got to love yourself inwardly.
That's it, man.
That's super important.
Be kind. Yeah.
So you can love other people outwardly, but you got to be kind to you. And hey, 1 out of 4 Americans suffer from mental health issues.
Oh man.
And so it's a real thing. And if you need help, like, get professional help. But
we're here, man.
You got to work on that mindset.
Be kind to yourself. Understand that it's a journey. You've picked up a lifetime of thoughts and beliefs about yourself, about the way the world is, and ultimately, I think there's this saying that says, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. And that's why we need to understand exactly what it is. Remember, you can change the factory default settings at any time. You just have to take the choice. Speaking of choice, I'm so glad you chose to watch today. I'm so glad you chose to engage. Join us in the Facebook group. start the conversation, ask for questions. We're happy to lean in. Thank you very much to our wonderful friends at Schedule Engine. We're so grateful that they've chosen to give this to this space. And of course, our team at Emerson, we're grateful for your support. Jerry?
Hey, be good out there so you can do good out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to somebody else today. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping by the Toolshed. Boom.